utter silence. Deafening silence.
The Israeli Prime Minister stunned the world this year on the United Nations podium as he stood silent for 44 seconds. Netanyahu is a mastermind at exploiting the podium of the General Assembly, where he began his career as a UN ambassador. But he's not the first Israeli to use the green marbled stand to make a grand show in defense of the Jewish homeland and to protest international hypocrisy.
For us, the Jewish people, this resolution based on hatred, falsehood and arrogance is devoid of any moral or legal value. For us, the Jewish people, this is no more than a piece of paper, and we shall treat it as such.
Dramatic Israeli overtures and rhetoric at the General Assembly are a mirror image of the tense and emotional relationship Jerusalem has had with the world body over the years. 40 years ago, that relationship reached one of its lowest points, when 72 countries voted to support Resolution 3379, which determined that Zionism is a form of racism. In response, then Ambassador Chaim Herzog made an impassioned defense of the Jewish national movement in what to this day is considered one of the best speeches in Israel's diplomatic history.
He stood up for the Jewish people, he stood up for justice, and he stood up for the truth, for the true founding principles of the United Nations. His bold and powerful action continues to serve as an example for us all.
The United Nations revoked the Zionism is Racism resolution in 1991, but the image of Ambassador Isaac Herzog ripping it up is embedded in Israel's collective memory.
I remember him vividly. I was unaware about the final gesture, but indeed he was extremely tense, working on this days before the event, knowing that it will culminate in a peak. It is regarded as one of the best speeches of the 20th century by historians, and indeed it is built beautifully, it's effective, and finally the big gesture of tearing it up in front of the whole arena.
On behalf of supporters of Israel, Jewish community, and the pro-Israel media, it was a great act which symbolized the view of many of good conscience of this infamous resolution.
A series of events in New York and Jerusalem marking the 40th year anniversary of the infamous resolution recalled the speech again and again, noting it is still very much relevant as Israel is still challenged at the UN day in and day out and complains about systemic and obsessive discrimination.
The institutional bias towards Israel stuck in the halls and the corridors of the General Assembly of the United Nations, and we can feel it until today. But what is really important is, with all the odds against us, to stand up and tell our story, because we can be proud of what we have achieved in 67 years. And I think former President Chaim Herzog, former ambassador, stood up, stood tall, and stood proud for the state of Israel and the Jewish people, and this is what we should be doing every day today.
Alas, 40 years after that dramatic speech, anti-Israel sentiments continue to dominate the United Nations agenda and are very much alive till this day, bringing into sharp focus how much do words actually matter.